Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive into leadership. We're really excited about today's topic.
Yeah,
We're going to be taking a close look at what makes a really effective leader.
absolutely.
And for this deep dive, we're turning to a well-known work, John C. Maxwell's The 21 Indispensable Qualities of a Leader.
It's a classic for a reason.
Yeah, and it's packed with insights. So we'll be exploring those key qualities that Maxwell identifies as absolutely essential for anyone who wants to lead effectively.
And the cool thing is it's not just theory. Maxwell really breaks it down in a way that's super practical, with actionable advice that you can actually apply in your own leadership journey.
Totally. So think of this as your kind of cheat sheet for leveling up your leadership skills, no matter where you are on that path.
Yeah,
All right, let's dive right in.
sounds good.
Let's go. So Maxwell starts right off the bat by emphasizing this idea that character is the bedrock of leadership.
It's the foundation. If you don't have a strong character, nothing else really matters.
Exactly. You can have all the skills and the charisma in the world, but without character, you're building on shaky ground.
Yeah, and when he talks about character, he's really zeroing in on integrity, like being honest, being trustworthy, and behaving ethically in everything you do.
It's about that consistency between your words and your actions. Walking the talk day in and day out. And not just when it's convenient or easy.
Right, because people can see through that. And once that trust is broken, it's really hard to get it back.
Absolutely. Maxwell actually says that trust is the fundamental currency of leadership, and it's earned through integrity. So that's where it all begins. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about charisma.
Okay, yeah, charisma. Now, when you hear that word, you might think of someone who's like super outgoing or charming, like naturally magnetic.
Right. But Maxwell actually presents a more nuanced view of charisma. He sees it as the ability to attract and inspire people, and importantly, he believes it's a skill that can be developed.
So it's not just something you're born with. Anyone can enhance their charisma with intentional effort.
Exactly. And he breaks it down into three key components. The first is genuinely caring for the people you lead, showing a real interest in their well-being and success.
The second is communicating effectively. And that means not just speaking clearly, but also listening actively and making sure people feel heard and understood.
And the third component is bringing a positive energy to your interaction.
Oh.
That optimism and enthusiasm can be really contagious.
So charisma, according to Maxwell, is about creating a positive and inspiring presence that draws people in and motivates them to achieve great things.
And think about it, when you encounter someone who has that kind of charisma, it's really energizing, right? You feel drawn to them, you want to be around them, and you're more likely to be inspired by their vision.
Totally. Now, speaking of motivation, another quality that Maxwell highlights as essential for effective leadership is commitment.
This is about that deep dedication to a cause or a goal, especially when the going gets tough, when you face those inevitable obstacles and setbacks.
Committed leaders are the ones who roll up their sleeves, they persevere through challenges, and they're even willing to make personal sacrifices to reach their goals.
They lead by example, demonstrating that they're all in, and that inspires others to follow suit.
Yeah. And a key part of commitment is, first of all, setting clear goals. You need to know where you're headed.
Right, and then it's about maintaining that focused effort towards those goals, even when things get difficult or distracting.
Now, all that commitment is great, but it's only truly effective when a leader can clearly articulate their vision and motivate their team to achieve it. And that brings us to the critical importance of communication.
Communication is the lifeblood of leadership. It's how you connect with your team, share your vision, and inspire them to take action.
And it's more than just talking. Effective communication involves listening actively, understanding different perspectives, and being able to tailor your message to resonate with your audience.
Exactly. It's about being clear, concise, and engaging in how you express your ideas. And Maxwell emphasizes that being a good listener is just as important as being a good speaker.
It's a two-way street. You need to be able to truly hear what others are saying and understand their concerns and perspectives.
Now let's move on to another important quality: competence. In the leadership context, this means having the necessary knowledge, skills, and abilities to lead effectively in your specific domain.
You need to know what you're doing. You need to have the expertise and experience to guide your team towards success.
And this isn't about resting on your laurels or past accomplishments.
Yeah.
Maxwell stresses that effective leaders are lifelong learners, always seeking to expand their knowledge and stay current in their field.
It's about having that growth mindset and being willing to continually invest in your own development.
Because the world is constantly changing, and the best leaders are those who can adapt and learn along the way. Now, leadership often requires navigating difficult situations, making tough calls, and stepping outside your comfort zone. And that's where courage comes in.
Yeah, courage. Maxwell defines it as the ability to face fear, to take calculated risks, and to make those tough decisions that might be unpopular or go against the grain.
It's about having the guts to stand up for what you believe in, even when it's hard, even when you're facing resistance. And it's about being willing to challenge the status quo and push for change.
And it's important to remember that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's about acting despite your fears.
Right. It's about recognizing that fear is a natural human emotion, but it shouldn't paralyze you. Courageous leaders acknowledge their fears and then move forward anyway. Building on that idea of courage, we have discernment, which is another crucial leadership quality.
Discernment is the ability to understand situations deeply, to kind of see the big picture and to make wise judgments based on that understanding.
It's like having that keen sense of perception, that ability to cut through the noise and get to the heart of the matter. Leaders with strong discernment can often anticipate problems before they arise and make decisions that are in the best interest of the team and the organization as a whole.
Yeah. And Maxwell suggests that one way to sharpen your discernment is to actively seek diverse perspectives. Talk to people who have different viewpoints than your own. Really listen to what they have to say.
Because it's easy to get stuck in your own bubble and to miss important information or insights. Okay, let's shift gears again and talk about focus.
Focus. In today's world, with so many distractions and demands on our attention, focus is more important than ever.
It's about being able to prioritize, to shut out the noise, and to stay laser-focused on what truly matters.
Yeah. Maxwell talks about the importance of minimizing distractions, setting clear priorities, and really managing your time effectively so that you can dedicate your energy to the most important tasks.
Because if you're scattered and trying to do a million things at once, you're not going to be effective in any of them. All right, let's talk about a quality that might seem a little less obvious in a leadership context. Generosity.
Generosity. Now, this isn't just about giving money or material things. It's about a willingness to share your time, your knowledge, your resources, and your opportunities with others.
It's about investing in the growth and development of your team members, helping them succeed, and creating a culture of abundance and support.
And it's about recognizing that true leadership isn't about hoarding power or resources. It's about empowering others to achieve their full potential.
Absolutely. Now let's move on to initiative. Leaders who demonstrate initiative are the ones who are proactive, self-starting, and always looking for ways to contribute.
They don't wait for someone to tell them what to do. They see opportunities and they take action.
They're problem solvers, they're innovators, and they're always willing to step up and take ownership. Now, when it comes to understanding the needs of your team and making informed decisions, listening is absolutely crucial.
Listening is a fundamental leadership skill. It's about being fully present when someone is speaking, really tuning into what they're saying, and trying to understand their perspective.
It's about paying attention not just to the words, but also to the nonverbal cues, the emotions behind the words. And it's about being open to feedback, even if it's not what you want to hear.
Because effective leaders understand that they don't have all the answers. They need to be able to learn from others and be willing to adjust their course based on what they hear. Okay, let's talk about a quality that's really at the heart of great leadership. Passion.
Passion is that contagious enthusiasm and excitement that you bring to your work. It's what fuels your drive, your creativity, and your resilience.
Passionate leaders inspire others. They create a positive and energizing environment that makes people want to be part of something bigger than themselves.
And it's not just about being passionate about your work in general. It's about finding that specific thing, that cause, that mission that really lights you up and makes you want to get out of bed every morning.
And along with passion, a positive attitude is essential for effective leadership.
A positive attitude can really make a difference in how you approach challenges, how you interact with your team, and how you navigate the ups and downs of leadership.
Positive leaders tend to be more resilient, more optimistic, and more likely to inspire those around them.
And Maxwell points out that positive thinking is a choice. It's a conscious decision to focus on the good, to look for opportunities, and to maintain a hopeful outlook, even when things are tough. Now, speaking of tough, let's face it, challenges are an inevitable part of leadership.
That's why problem solving is such an important skill. Effective leaders need to be able to identify problems, analyze them, and come up with creative solutions.
It's about thinking critically, thinking outside the box, and being willing to experiment and try new things.
And it's about being able to involve your team in the problem-solving process, leveraging their diverse perspectives and expertise.
Because often the best solutions come from collaboration and collective brainstorming. Now, let's talk about something that's fundamental to effective leadership: relationships.
Yeah, relationships. Leaders who can build strong, trusting relationships with their team members create a more positive, supportive, and productive work environment.
It's about connecting with people on a human level, showing empathy, and genuinely caring about their well-being.
Strong relationships foster trust, open communication, and a sense of shared purpose.
And that's essential for achieving great things together. Now, let's shift gears a bit and talk about responsibility.
Responsibility. This is about taking ownership of your actions, your decisions, and your commitments.
Responsible leaders are accountable for their own performance and for the performance of their team. They don't shy away from blame or make excuses.
They hold themselves to high standards, and they inspire others to do the same.
And they follow through on their promises. They do what they say they're going to do, and that builds trust and credibility. All right, let's move on to another important quality: security.
Secure leaders are confident in their abilities and comfortable with who they are. They don't feel threatened by the success of others, and they're willing to empower their team members.
They recognize that true leadership isn't about being the smartest person in the room or having all the answers. It's about creating an environment where everyone can thrive and contribute their best work.
Secure leaders are also good at delegating, giving others opportunities to grow and take on new challenges.
And they're willing to admit when they're wrong and to learn from their mistakes. Now, along with security, self-discipline is essential for effective leadership.
Self-discipline is the ability to control your impulses, to stay focused on your goals, and to persevere even when things get tough.
It's about managing your time effectively, prioritizing your tasks, and resisting distractions. And it's about staying calm and composed under pressure.
Leaders who lack self-discipline can easily get sidetracked, overwhelmed, or discouraged.
Now, let's talk about a leadership style that's been gaining a lot of attention in recent years: servant leadership.
Servant leadership is all about putting the needs of others first. It's about leading by serving, supporting your team members, and empowering them to succeed.
Servant leaders are humble, empathetic, and genuinely invested in the growth and development of those around them. They create a culture of trust, collaboration, and mutual respect.
And they recognize that true leadership isn't about power or control, it's about service and empowerment. Now, even with a strong foundation in all of these qualities, there's one more that's absolutely essential: teachability.
Teachability is the willingness to learn, to grow, and to adapt. It's about being open to feedback, new ideas, and different perspectives.
Teachable leaders are constantly seeking to improve themselves and their skills. They recognize that they don't have all the answers and that there's always more to learn.
They're humble, curious, and willing to step outside their comfort zones. And finally, we come to vision.
Vision is about having a clear and compelling picture of the future and the ability to inspire others to work towards that shared aspiration.
Visionary leaders can articulate where they're going and why it matters, creating a sense of purpose and direction that motivates and unites their team.
They paint a picture of what's possible and inspire others to believe in it. So, as we've seen, Maxwell's 21 Indispensable Qualities provides a really comprehensive framework for understanding what it takes to be an effective leader.
It's a journey of continuous development, of growth, and of self-discovery.
And it's a journey that's well worth taking.
Absolutely. And for you, the listener, we encourage you to reflect on which of these qualities resonate most strongly with you right now.
Yeah, think about maybe one or two areas where you see the greatest opportunity for growth in your own leadership journey.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into leadership with purpose.
We hope you found it valuable.
If you did, we'd love you to like the podcast, subscribe for more insightful explorations, and support the channel so we can keep bringing you this kind of content.
And as you continue your leadership journey, consider this. Which single quality, if you intentionally focused on strengthening it even just a little bit each day, could have the most significant positive ripple effect on your ability to lead with purpose?
That's something to think about. Until next time, keep leading with purpose.
Take care.
Bye.